Puken, you are under attack, this organization says, well, Puken is not, MTC is not alliance, Puken is a Matebele. And therefore, you know, when you're standing for the right thing, you have to be there. Just like any other Matebele person who is attacked. So we stand by defend that. And definitely there's a whole lot of conscientization that needs to go forward. And it's an uphill struggle. And thank you very much for this insightful presentation. So what we're going to do now, I think we're going to combine Mr. Matebele's answer and question and answer and your question and answer together. So for the next 30 minutes or so. And then we've got a visitor from Sabah, from Malaysia, who's, you know, coming from a similar sort of type of environment. After that, we'll have a presentation from her, and then we'll have a question and answer as well. So from now going forward, we can accept questions. So if people lift up their hands so that we can identify them, and then we can ask them to fire off in terms of questions. I'm not seeing hands at all yet. Okay, what I can do is to maybe ask people directly. I've got Ndlovu there. Ndlovu, do you have a question at all? You unmute yourself. So you remain not unmuted. All right, while we are figuring with that, Ndlovu, let's check who else might have a question. There is Tusi there. Any question, Tusi? Oh, we're not getting any lucky there. Hadebe.
Well, thank you. I don't have a question, but what he said so is on point. But what are we going to do? Because what he said or highlighted, you look at in terms of okay, all shops here, always called 95% of our companies don't come from the city. So it's not, do you happen to have any spying or a say in anything, or is it was to adjust the subject? So what is the way forward? How can we correct these ills? That's my question.
Thank you very much. So your point is a comment as well as a question. So Senator, any responses to that?
No, thank you so much. Because I didn't get his prior permission, I'm not going to say much. Safe to say, the Hadebe you spoke to is Dr. Hadebe.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't come more finer than him. If he had given me permission, I would have expanded more on some of the things I've done with him for the region. And so he's a great man, great man. I don't know how to describe him. I was told about him before I met him in person by someone, and when I met him, yeah, he's completely different. But to get to the question, we must be deliberate about our intervention. We must be very, very deliberate. So we now know that there are schools now in deep rural. It used to be in Bulawayo, deep rural Matebeleland, where our kids are taught by Shona people, right? So what do? If we're a group and we're organized like this, most of you are in the diaspora. So you can come in the form of resources, where you bring resources. You can even be, resources is not always money. Resource can be your capacity and ability to write a petition. And we petition Parliament. Then we bring Parliament. And then we force them like that. If we're not winning there, you can, now resources come in the form of money, where we take this thing to the courts because it's unconstitutional. It's a violation of the fundamental rights of our children. It's a violation. The issues I spoke to on the doctors who are not able to speak to our people. Honestly speaking, imagine a sick person needing help and can't get help on the basis that the person who's supposed to be the caregiver can't speak their language. Why isn't government intervening to make sure that that is possible? But do you know why it's not possible? It's not possible because your representatives in Parliament are Shonas who have now settled in Matebeleland. So they don't feel your pain. When their parents are here, they quickly turn to Shona. You see? But when I had my aunt who was in real pain and went to Mpilo and was not getting any help, I had to go to Mpilo. And then when the doctors saw that she's related to the senator, then she got good service. This is the last example I want to give you. Every time I do an interview with Ezra Chisasband, except this past one I did this past Saturday, I would always get an attempted break-in at my house. But this one now was not attempted. They did manage to break in. And then, so I remain to safeguard what was there, and then I send my brother's son to go and make a report. When he gets there to make a report, the police tell him what they tell him, but eventually nothing happened because he is from deep rural. He is not conversant in English. He can't speak English. The policeman can't speak Ndebele. So the whole thing got stuck there and nothing happened. And nothing happened until I had to call the commissioner, not the commissioner, sorry, whoever is in charge there of the police station, the person in charge. And station commander also. And that person now had to call them, direct them to come to me because of my position. Otherwise, any Jack and Jill, this whole thing would have died like that. So imagine we are talking education, we're talking health, now we're even talking security. You can't even receive security. It's on the basis of your ethnicity. Because if the government is providing people who can't be conversant with you in a service which only the government can provide, that's a denial of a fundamental right. That's a denial of a service by the government. So we depend upon you to amplify this thing that we are doing, number one, by resourcing it, by making sure that we get platforms, because it's a huge difference. If I were to come to England, as I almost did, if you put me on BBC Hard Talk, our issues get elevated and then they get attended to. But if we just remain in this small enclave of ours and talk amongst each other, there's nothing which is going to move. But I can tell you, I mean it when I'm saying I am ready and willing to die. I have access to the diaspora. I have a lot of people in my family who says, why don't you give up that thing, man? For once, just be selfish. Forget about that. We're not going to do anything. Just come home, just come decide with your family and just forget about everything. But it is people like you, when I was doing my research, that kind of like encouraged me that no, actually these dry bones, they can move.
My leader, if I can come in on that one. Yes.
Yeah, go on. Go on.
Yes, Nkokeli, to answer that question, okokuqala ngibonge uSenator Puken. Well, he is my brother, he is my friend. We talk on different platforms. And sharing a platform with him, I know he has what he's gonna hit hard, and that on its own, young Denise. But I want to say this to answer the question. We do have a problem as a nation. Saying Chia Ilizwe as a state or country, but I'm talking to a nation, to a Matebele Nation. We do have a major problem. We've got a disempowered citizenry. We need to empower abantu laba. So such kind of discussions, we need to make it a point that iyafika kubani lobani iyangithola, because right now it should not only remain to the elite, but it should get to even the rural area so that we manage to conscientize our people. Why am I saying that? I'm saying this, recently I attended Imziliga's Day commemoration. It's gaining momentum. A lot of people are going there and people meet there and we have discussions there. So we should be having these things on year-to-year basis, and we also have this kind of interactions on a day-to-day basis. Because now I want to give two examples. The first example, people of Bavaria in Germany. I've never been there, but one of my mentors went there to Miso Tabengwa. Then when he came back, he was like saying a lot of things about these people. You would realize that the people of Bavaria, they've got a team they support in Bavaria. We all know it. And when they support that team, it's part of who they are. And their players are part of who they are, and they make it a point that they state who they are. In life, if you want to be, you want to lead, you want to be chancellor in Germany, you need to get the endorsement from those people, from the Bavarians, who are more Bavarian than Germans. When they think of who they are, first they are Bavarians before they are Germans. So we need to think about all these things, how we can make sure and conscientize our people to be more Matebele before they become anything else, which I can't mention. So we need to look into that and see how do we get to that level. Then the second example is the Boer people in South Africa. The Boer people, the Boer people, you realize they've got their own culture. They are farmers, they've got their sport, rugby, they've got their cultural stuff, and they sponsor their own stuff, and they are so organized that that nation cannot be dismantled on any given time. We'll have the Boers for the next 100 years. You can't dismantle that nation. They are so well organized. So we need to organize. Apart from all this, we need to organize our people first before we get into the country politics, the state politics. We need to make sure that our national politics is intact. Then the last example is the IFP, Inkatha Freedom Party in South Africa. The Inkatha Freedom Party, now I moved away from the people, I'm now getting into politics. They managed to form a party. Amazulu, they managed to come up with a party, and that party represents the people of Amazulu, but they contest Limpopo, where you have Amapeti, they contest even Western Cape, they contest everywhere in the country. They are a national party, they've got a national character, but everyone knows that they protect Amalungelo, the rights of Amazulu. And that on its own will safeguard the region, will safeguard the party. I'm not saying this from the party, but if that can be done, why not? Why not? Then lastly, my leader, before I hand over, I want to say, if you look at what's common in all these things, is that the people are conscientized, the people to a greater extent understand the struggle. We don't have our campus in that area. They understand the struggle that they need to fight for Abantu Bagiti. I'll give one last example, then I give it to you. Zuma becomes the president of South Africa. At one given time, he wants to impose a candidate in Pretoria, where you have the Betis and people from the Betis and the Sutus in Pretoria. Then he imposes Didiza Thokoza from KZN. The people in ANC were the ones who said, no, we are not going to vote for this person because this person does not come from our region and this person comes from KZN. We are imposing this person. We are not voting for this person, to an extent that ANC ended up choosing another candidate to stand for that area. So what is happening right now is not new. We need to learn from other people's mistakes, and we can say without a figment of doubt, this is not new. This happened only if our people were socialized, only if our people were conscientized, if only our people understood the whole struggle. Then we're not going to have our Phuket, we're not going to have other people, our Chabang, being castigated and all that. But we need to conscientize our people so that they understand what singobani siyangaphi kutheni nguyini esikudlulisayo. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matebele. Let's have more questions. I'm probably gonna ask full out names. I can see that two years
yeah.
Hold on to there's someone who unmuted themselves, and I think it's Mtungwa. Mtungwa, if you can mute yourself, please, so that. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, you can go ahead, sir.
I'm Mthembu. Ngibonga ithuba kodwa ke ngibonge kakhulu umnumzana uPhukeni nomsebenzi. Ngithande kakhulu indlela engizwe ubaba uPhukeni echaza yabona i-current affair ekababa uChabanga. Iningi labantu bakithi bebengakunanzeleli, mhlawumbe nami ngomunye wabantu ade bengakunanzeleli ukuthi kuliwane kahle ngoba i-amplified voice eyiyo esiyizwayo yokuthi uChabanga vele kasiyo member of i-CCC, uChabanga usetshenziswa iZANU-PF, yabona into ezinjalo. Ngibe sengibuza ke kubaba uPhukeni ukuthi kathi ama voices abantu bakithi akuphi, abantu abafana no Welshman Ncube akuphi noma bakuliphi side. Ngiyabonga, angime lapho kwamanje.
Thank you. Senator.
All right, ngiyabonga. Ngivumele program director ke ngibuyele emuva kancane. Ukulombuzo othe singenzani ukuthi sibuyele sibe isizwe lesiyana njalo, ngikhohle okunye. Ake sibe lemkhosi esiyigubhayo. uNdlunkulu wakwaZulu lo otshonileyo uMntanenkosi besingabangani ke mina she was just a phone call away, I was just a phone call away, besizwana ke bengifonela nje uMntanenkosi anytime. Kulezi zinto azikhopha eSwaziland wazihambisa kwaZulu. Lizwile uKing Misuzulu ekhuluma ukuthi lingayimoshile into yomntwana wenkosi le yabe lo mama wami lento lingayimoshi. So ngiyafisa ukuthi ke sihambe manguthi khona sokwasilahlekela siye kwaZulu, siye eSwatini, siyefunda ngezinye zezinto zethu. Abantwana bethu bakhule behlangana bezenza lezi zinto. Zenziwe lapha eZimbabwe, lihlangane khona ngapho abantu nje besindebele abahlangane throughout the world. NjengamaJuda, amaJuda ayaza lama holidays ayo lezinto zayo ukuze asikwenzeni khona lokho kuzosihlanganisa, kube lezinto amantombazana afundiswa zona, kube lezinto amajaha afundiswa zona. Yikho kuzokhulunywa ade kukhulunywa ngomfowethu ukuthi abantu before besiba ngamaZimbabweans kodwa babe yini ngabathwakazi kuqala. Kuzosiza wonke umntwana abe le identity enganyikinyekiyo engathini. Sengibuye embuzweni wakho. Unfortunate, most of abantu abangene lempi bangene betshelwa amanga. Right. Umfowethu Matebele sisonke njengoba sethile kuma platforms amaningi, so sile advantage yokuthi okunye siyakuthola kuma platforms into le ihamba kanje bese silandela lapho. Kodwa ngoba ngifuna ukuphendula lo mbuzo ombuze wona, kodwa ngizohamba the long way just so you appreciate why kunzima ukuthi ngikuphendule ngendlela obuze ngakhona. Mina ngaba le interview engayiyenzayo about 2 weeks ago lezi FM. Ithe ivuka leyo interview yavuka ibhalwe okungamanga leli phepha elizibiza Bulaye 24. Kodwa ngenxa yokuthi ngokwesibili lilwisana lami ngesikhathi ngimele umama makhuphe labhala nje into engamanga nje. Sisebe kuphindile manje kwese mbona konto lokho kuyi outfit kulana ukuxabanisa lokudukisa abantu bakithi. It's just a Shona supremacy project ya. So ithe isibhale kanjalo ke. Oqala ukuvukela mina ngumza wami mntaka Antoine oliloya lokuba liloya angithumela into leya. Athi yena kuyini khona okuyangiyangisa kwathini bese ngikhuluma ngani athi 24 bese ngithatha i-interview la bese ngimthumela ngithi lalela la usu bese siyakhuluma ke from an informed point of view. Well, he never came back to me, but you will know that most of the people that spoke to me who were then exposed to the real interview which I did, they to eat humble pie except the unreasonable ones, to say fella, we were lied to. This is not what happened. So ngicabanga ukuthi ubaba uprofessor njalo ke be point umunwe kuye bethi ngiyo behind this ngiyokutheni maybe yikho la esibona ungcono kanjani azihlalele lapha khona. Kodwa ngike ngabona izolo efaka amanye amavesi ngibona sokubhala ukuthi hayi sizokhulula ilizwe one verse at a time, andichamisa la ebhizi ngamavesi. Manje ngibona uprofessor la isakifaka ivesi ethi yenza lokho thanda abantu bakwenze kuwe. So ngicabanga ukuthi uyakhuluma kodwa ngendlela zakhe la akhuluma ngakhona. But ngiyayithola ipoint yakho, bekuzoba lula ngabe ama-traditional leaders ethu vele lwajwayeleyo okuyibo abasiphetheyo bakhulumele phezulu libezwe. But ngiyathemba ukuthi ngokuya kwesikhathi into leyo izoqala ukukhulunywa. Anti ukuthi abafowethu ba-advanced lokana ngikhulume ngakho ukuthi ama-warriors ethu athi ebuya emaningi athola abelungu sebelezibhamu ezi-advanced. Abafowethu ba-advanced njengoba ubona sebaplanta ama-media houses awo lapho koBulawayo eMatebeleland, ama-journalist ngawabo safunda ama-language ethu athini but i-allegiance yabo ingale, i-agenda yabo ukuthi basidestroye thina njengesizwe. So yonke lento abayikhulumayo abayenzayo bayenza ukuthi basehlise thina baphakamise ngala abantu bakubo. So impi ngempela inkhona iqala manje. that organization and being deliberate engikhulume ngakho. We must be well organized, well funded, sibe le plan. Sikwazi ukuthi sesidinga ama-journalist, sesidinga what, and awusozuphonga ukumthatha lo khona ngoba use-trained already. So kumele ukuthi liqala ukuzakhela abenu, eselibanika i-ideology, labafaka umhabulo, bazwisisa ukuthi badila lani. Mase bekwazi ukuthi badila lani, yikho lapho uzobona khona ukuthi labanye maybe abethu asebakubaba kubheke balimala because they were left exposed. Antu yabona, they were left exposed. Abazange baba lenhlanhla njengenkosi yethu uLobheka ulengazange aba